welcome to Keeper's Corner. We have got some belting goals that we're going to kind of discuss and dissect and break down for you. We're also looking at that title-winning Stefan Ortega save for Man City against Tottenham last week. As always, I've got Dave Watson next to me. Watto, how are you, mate?
Fantastic. I'm looking forward to dissecting a few of these goals, but talking about that title-winning save.
Oh, it was beautiful, wasn't it? Do you know that everybody in the comments last week said that you are basically staring into their soul? The way that you look through that camera, it's like a thing of beauty. It's like you're romancing them without even knowing it.
This is the face, the eye, the eyes have it, guys.
Right, come on then, let's get into it. We are going to Newcastle versus Brentford. Flekken, I'm not sure what goal this was, but it was the Isaac goal, that's all we do know. Isaac, some fantastic feet, puts it in the corner, but he should be saving this, right?
Yeah, it's goal number 3, and I think this is the importance for anybody watching and playing in goal or even trying to motivate your defenders in front of you. The game's never finished. We know the game ultimately finishes 4-2, but they get back to 3-2, Brentford, in this game. So every goal, every moment matters. Yes, Newcastle played really well, good patterns, good movement to get in. And he's actually in a good position from here. And at that point, he's set, and instead of going with one hand, he decides to chop, but behind his body line, which we've talked about in the past, he can't get the dynamic right hand down there, and he goes with two hands, and the timing of his second hand's not quite there. It's not the cleanest finish.
It takes a little nick off the defender's toe, you know. Tiny little nick.
Yeah, and it makes it tough.
But it's not enough that you should not be saving it.
If anything, the nick comes into you to make the save easier. Yeah. But I think at that point, that's when we talk about the brightness of the mind changing, not to think about the left hand coming over to work with you. At that point there, I'm thinking I'm just driving with my right hand and trying to attack it in front of me, because the body weight's in a really good position when you see him there, and he's actually not dropped his right hand, and the little nick comes back inside him, and it's just then staying in that position. But if you come inside it, you open the goal up, and he ends up just eating the top of his thumb because his timing's off.
Yeah, he should be saving this. It's as simple as that. But I think the reason why he doesn't is it's decision making. Yeah. Like you say, the second that takes that little nick, right, even though it looks like it's split seconds and you know he's put it right in the corner, no. It's taking a nick, which kind of brings it inside. But at that point is where you have to have a clear mind, a calm mind, a composed mind, to the point where you go, just get a barrier on it, all right?
Yeah.
Just get a barrier on it and block the thing. And I think, even if it pops out in front of you here, that's not the end of the world. You have to stop that first shot, though.
I think you can see it's not that clean. And yes, there's a nick, but you've got enough working distance. If you want to be really critical, it could be half a yard back. But what the end action I don't like is the fact that he doesn't decide to go with one on his right, but the ends up then the left shoulder really rotates over, so you're in this position and you end up like belly flopping in the finish, and that tells me I can't push off and drive from the bottom half of my body to allow the top half and the line to be really aggressive with the right hand.
I like the way you've just said belly flop, and that's exactly what it is in the end. Yeah. And I guarantee if you see any save go on a Saturday afternoon where the goalie ends up belly flopping, right, whether he saves it or not, the technique that he used probably isn't ideal. It probably isn't ideal. You should be pushing dynamically forward at an angle if you can, landing on the side of your body. And it's exactly that. He just didn't execute the final part of it.
Yeah, he didn't push and he didn't drive with the right, and then the left shoulder over-rotates because he's thinking about bringing the left hand in. But it's all too slow, and then the over-rotation just takes you into the big belly flop for the summer dive, guys.
All right, let's stay with Brentford then and Newcastle. This is another goal, which it's kind of... I would say it's a tough save, right? This is a tough save, but this is the level that we're talking about, Watto, right? This is the level that we're at. It's a free kick from... We're bang on the edge of the 18-yard box here. It's gone through bodies. It's made it very tough for the goalkeeper, but... I just want to talk about the actual save that he executed from the initial free kick. Yeah. It's a very awkward-looking save, isn't it?
Yeah. Look, everything that you've explained there is 100% correct. But if we talk about the last save, when we're talking about the angle of his right hand, when you stop it there, the actual angle of his left hand now is actually in a good line. Yeah. But this is the time when, weirdly enough, you've got to buy time as a goalie. And because it's coming through bodies, he's had a little jump, a little movement to his right, but his left hand is reacting in such a position, he's attacking the ball in front of his left foot. And what he should be doing is letting it bounce and open up a little bit, so when he gets the barrier, you deflect it away from the danger zone. So we always used to work, if the goal's into you, if you parry anything in that V, then you're asking for trouble.
Yeah.
Because it's like their kill zone, and any players worth of salt are going to follow in, and you've got absolutely no chance.
The step that he takes to his right kills him, by the way.
Kills him.
This is the reason why he has got no time to react, is because when the ball is struck, he is still moving, only slightly, to his right. He takes a jump to his right.
Little jump to his right.
Little jump to his right. And then he has to get back down to his left-hand side. I think, for me, the best way to deal with this shot is to stand big and tall.
Yep.
And what we spoke about on the previous episodes, last week and the week before, is if it's up here, up and around here, you use your arms to save it. Yep. But if it's down low there, you have to be nimble enough on your toes, body weight forward, to know that you can kick a leg out, open up. You might have to fall back with it. It doesn't matter what it is. But you get that foot barrier on that. And I think if he was stood up, he would have been able to save that.
Because that's the time the body weight doesn't matter. Because as long as you can still see and you can get your foot on the point of contact, that ball's going to fly through. Even if it is in that V, it's going to go back at him very, very quickly. Pace, so it's a difficult finish for him. But I just think here he's made two bad decisions. Yeah. He's gone with his left hand, but he's attacked the ball too much. He's got to wait a little bit longer so he can open his arm out and let it go into a safe area. Or the best action would have been not to have the bounce and the jump, and probably to attack it with that left foot so it flies back through there, and they'd know then the feeling of what it's like to be a goalie, because they wouldn't be able to react in time and it'd be cleared, the danger.
The bit you just said there about trying to open your body up a little bit. So instead of being really direct to it down there, forward angle, is trying to save it there. Yeah. And then also relaxing your wrist
so
a little bit.
It turns away.
So honestly, this is so technical and it's so hard to explain how you do this, but you get such a feel for just a slight angle on your wrist, opening it up like that. Don't get me wrong, you still got to stop the ball going in the back of there, but opening your wrist up like that allows the ball to go out that way to safety instead of tight and strict. And
you don't want the big palm here, because as he opens the palm up, this is your biggest solid surface, and it just pops the ball back into the V that we talk about. And anything in there, if you're playing at any level, to be honest with you, you deserve to be punished, because it's not good enough.
All right then, Watto, third goal of the show. Eberici Eze, it's at Selhurst Park. Robin Olsen in goal for Aston Villa. Even though this is the fifth goal of the game, and there's a lot of football fans that will say, oh, the game's gone, it's the last game, it doesn't really matter. We hold our standards very high, We hold our standards very high. It's as simple as that. That's what the goalkeeper fraternity is. We keep ourselves to a high level, right? And we're a little bit sort of disappointed with this going in, because it's not right in the corner, and we just feel that Robin hasn't really exploded with enough power and pace to make the save, have we?
No, I think, like you rightly say, look, goalkeeping's a position on its own, and to be successful, you've got to have a real tough mentality. Yeah. But we're also trying to put this show out there as an educational piece for anybody playing at any level, and how you're going to get better. So you're dead right in saying that he's not been very quick in terms of the chop and the push-off to get down with his right hand. So we have to break it down and have to say, well, why is that? So the first part of the action for me is he's far too high towards his 6-yard line.
Quickly, let me jump on the back of that as well. Robin Olsen, by the way, 6'5", yeah? He is a big guy, right? He's, 30 odd? I think he's something like... He's 6'5", and he's a big, heavy guy, all right? So you can't expect him to be the most rapid, powerful, explosive, bang, get down in. You can't expect him to be like that. But he should also know that. This is where he should also buy himself a little bit more time. Yeah. And when he's getting that shot off from 23-4 yards, is make sure you're in a position where you can maximise that little space of time. So take a step back, maybe even two, and you would have made this.
And I think that's where the point comes here. For somebody of his experience, he can see that this is not... It's not slow build-up, but it's not quick build-up where he can't readjust and get in another... I would have liked him to be 2 yards further back from that position.
It's 2 steps, isn't it? It's 2 steps.
As a minimum. But, so, why do I want him to be 2 steps back? Whether he's lost half a yard, whether he's lost a little bit of the spring, the power, the explosiveness to get down with his right hand, we can question all that. But as you get older, your experience should tell you where you need to be in the optimum position to work. If he's 2 yards back, he buys 2 yards of reaction time, which might allow him to get his right hand down and be a little bit more dynamic with it. But ultimately, the ball goes 2.5 yards inside the post. Yeah. at that level, that has to be stopped.
Yeah.
And I think if you're 2.5 yards back, that fraction of a millisecond reaction time is more than enough for him to save it. So he's 2.5 yards out of position. And when you look at it, he just has a little bit of hand movement just on the strike. And that also costs him his time. Yeah. Did you see the little shuffle just behind his backside? Yeah. So he has the little shuffle behind his backside. So that loses
another fraction
of a second. Yeah. And the fact that he's 2.5 yards too high, coupled with a hand movement, and the ball misses his right hand underneath his hand by 2 or 3 inches. I'm saying no hand movement and 2.5 yards back. I think it's a comfortable save.
I totally agree. He tracks the ball perfectly. He moves alongside it as a moves inside. He moves with it, and then the strike again. It's a good strike. It's not fantastic though. It is not an absolute rocket, and it's not in the corner. No. Any goalkeeper, and I think even he will agree, he's probably a little bit disappointed.
Yeah, it's a soft goal, and all the things we've talked about, it's the 5th goal and all that, but use this as an educational piece. Think about your positioning, think about your hand movement. We talk about it always. Feet get you into a position, hands then are allowed to work as long as you're in a good set position with them, and your head position's always vital.
Good feet make great saves.
Always.
Which leads us on nicely, Watto, because I think if Jason Steele would have got a good foot on this one, he would have saved it. It's Højlund's goal for Manchester United. It's the 2nd goal of the game, puts the game to bed. But we want to talk it from a goalkeeper, real technical breakdown, right? And for me, I think he's got his foot stuck in the ground, by the way, for one. But 2, he just hasn't tracked with the ball enough to cover that corner, has he?
No, and that's the right thing. And we've just talked about the Olsen one, but when you see this from the very start, you see that he's on his 6-yard box. You see that he's relatively high, but the play's higher. So he has to be in a higher starting position. But as the play develops, this is what we've just spoke about, great feet, make great saves. The play's developing, it's 40 yards outside his box. All of a sudden now he's had to drop off. He's tracked the line of the ball, but then stopped. Yeah. He's never got far enough across to his left-hand side. And I have to be perfectly honest, if Højlund would have just on his right foot rolled it in the corner, it's a very easy finish. Yeah. So initially, you talk about goalkeeping, you've always got to try and get in line with the ball with that lateral movement. So he's not moved across quite far enough. And then I do think in the end, he has been a little bit unlucky, whether he's got the extra long studs in the heels, but he's not been able to shoot the left foot out there.
What you want to do is really slide it over the top of the grass there.
He wants to be getting at it.
Yeah.
But I think he knows at some point he's not shuffled across far enough. And then the whole thing becomes really awkward. But it's definitely a foot save.
Yeah.
And he knows that at that point, 2-0's killed him. But he's looking at that thinking, he's probably not quite sure how it's not gone in, but he's not been able to get the left leg to slide across.
The defending, I've got to say, from Brighton is absolutely criminal. That's by the by. We're not talking about the defending here. We're talking about a goalkeeper perspective of this, right? And Jason Steele, what he has to do is look after himself and do what he needs to do to get himself in the best position possible to make this save. And by not tracking across when Højlund comes outside, because when Højlund puts it out on his right foot, there's only one thing he's doing is getting a shot. That's where Jason Steele should have been taking another step at least, maybe even 2, to cover off that corner. Yeah. That's what you should have done, and then it's a very comfortable foot save, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think, and again, you go into the technicalities, we're talking about he's been unlucky, his foot's got stuck in the ground, his left foot, but if his weight transfers as it should be, you should just be slightly on the balls of your feet there, and your heels should be slightly raised so you can either chop or get the drive with your left foot. So because he's put the weight onto his heel,
he can't even get it up to push.
He can't get it up to push. So again, you talk about the minute detail. Could he have tracked a little bit more? Could he have done this? Could he have done that? But the weight transfer on his heel has not allowed him to get the left foot out there.
That's a really interesting point, actually, because there's a lot of goals that have gone in the past where people have said, "Oh, he's got his feet stuck in the ground," or a goalkeeper has complained and said, "I got my studs stuck in the ground." There's a reason why you get your studs stuck in the ground, It's because your body weight is backwards. Yeah. So your back studs are longer than your front studs and your middle studs. Your back studs are the longest ones. They're the ones that have got offer the most grip, for when you're taking kicks and moving around your goal. If all of your weight is backwards and into those back studs, it is near on impossible to be able to shoot it out because they are dug into the ground. However, if you are on the balls of your feet, on your toes, you can lift, your heels are up off the ground already. You can shoot your foot out. That's the reason why goalkeepers get their feet stuck in the ground, isn't it?
And for me, for all the little details, I just think he's got a little bit too much weight on his heels, on his left heel for sure, in that moment. Just as he had the little shuffle, his weight transfer, he's a little bit low and it's gone through that left heel and he's not been able to shove it out.
Brilliant. Right, we've got a couple absolute worldy saves for you. This is save of the Premier League weekend. We're going to do that Stefan Ortega save in a second. First of all, though, Jose Sarr, Mo Salah, top corner, cameras, ching, ching, ching. This is beautiful, isn't it, Watto?
At the top end, as a goalie, this is what you live for. Liverpool's best player, certainly attacking threat this season and most seasons, leading goal scorer, on his favoured left foot, 10 yards out. But we talked about feet a lot on the last couple of clips. But when you see the start of this clip and you think about the goalie coaches who coach you, or if you're a goalie coach and all the footwork drills you do, you have to be in a position. Look how high he is here. He's at 8 yards here trying to read Salah's left foot outside the foot cross.
That's really good. Got progressive as heck. It's so good. That's what we want to see.
Yeah, you've got to be aggressive. You've got to help your team out at that situation. When the ball's not yours, that's it. Now we've got to recreate retreat, and the action's still happening. So look at him here. He's thinking about a contact at goal. So now he's got back to nearly 6 yards. Poor touch. He's got sucked into it, might need to spread and block. Now he's had to back off again, thinks there's another shot. Still backing off. As Salah now comes inside him, look at the weight. Look at the weight transfer. It's all on his toes, what we spoke about, not on his back studs. He's firing his quads up, and the only way you save it...
The quad burner. Look at the quad burner. Look at the... We're talking about the save. The save is actually like the easiest part of all of this, right?
Yeah.
The contact, the amount of tiny... and shifting side to side. And he's doing it all through the balls of his feet, and I guarantee you his thighs would have been burning at this point. Screaming. Yeah. But this is what it takes, and this is the only reason why he can make that save is because he's looking round bodies, he's looking through legs, he is on the balls of his feet, and that is what makes him be able to tip this one over the bar. It's such good footwork.
Yeah, but honestly. Salah's hitting it from 13 yards. He's what we talked about on the Olsen goal. Give yourself more time. The ball's coming past defenders who are at 10, 11 yards. You're at 2 yards. You've got 9 yards to react, and your thighs are burning. You've just had so many moments, and he's shaping it round the defender. You're hoping you've got your spring, and it's off that right foot. Line of attack's incredible. Beautiful. Extension, and it's just the top two fingers, and it's like, that's a dream in front of the cop.
Isn't it? Get that picture there, that picture where you're in the top corner, get it printed, hang it on the wall, save of the weekend. Absolute
dream save.
Right then, Watto, what a moment this is. Any goalkeeper is very reminiscent for me, actually, of the Emi Martinez save for Argentina against France in the World Cup final. The dying embers of the game. Yep. The game could go either way if this goes in the back of the net. The title could go either way if this ball goes in the back of the net. Yep. He stands big, though, spreads himself. Is that the right decision? Either way, he makes a save. Talk me through it, Watto.
For me, I think when you see the start of the action, obviously it's a mistake in the middle of the park. So he's relatively high at the start of the action, for sure. And what I think where he gets the win is that he backed off so quickly. And what he gave Diaz a chance just to be on Son's shoulder there.
His eye line. Just to
be on there. Yeah. And he's give himself enough that he's not made Son's decision easy for him.
Look at Ortega backtracking here.
So
look
he's
at this. Backtracking under control.
Back.
But look at his body weight as well. Yeah. Look at his body weight there. You perfect. See it? So he's backtracking, but his body weight is still forward. That means he's still in control of everything.
Look at it when we talk about the balls of the feet. Left foot, right foot. And he can get it out and look at the arm spread.
It's so good.
And the flexibility. He's 31 years of age. He's just come off the bench. He's made 3 saves in the game, this being the biggest and the most important. But it just shows you never know as a goalie when your time comes. So you've still got to do your fitness, your flexibility, your Pilates, your yoga, all the things that buy you little moments of time and flexibility to make these saves. But he made a great decision. He backed off quick. He held his ground. Diaz just put him on enough, and he's gone with that big barrier.
His angle's perfect as well, isn't it? He's well aware of where the goal is. Yeah. He's got the penalty spot for reference. He's got the edge of the box for reference. Yeah. He's watching Sonny. He's watching his head. He's watching his body. Yeah. The ball, the touch out of Sonny's feet actually isn't brilliant, is it? And I think this is what Ortega might have seen and gone, I think I've got this. I think I've got a chance. If I just back myself, I think I've got this. And Diaz getting back in as well, just taking the eye of Son a little bit as well, puts him under pressure to take it a bit earlier as well.
And I think he knows he's never opening up to put it down to his left foot.
Yeah.
And I think his experience has got him through it. But what a save for him, for Man City, and for the Premier League title race. But to have done it relatively cold and come on as a sub,
special.
I think it's really special. And all the work he'll have done all season that most Man City fans will have not heard of him, because he's had a little bit of exposure in the league this year, and he certainly plays in the FA Cup. But to come on and produce that moment in that game to win him the title is a very special moment for him. And that's for all the work that's gone on unseen to win his team the Premier League title.
You're right, mate. Absolutely banging moment. Really buzzing for you. That was the Keeper's Corner. As always, we hope you've enjoyed it. We hope you've learnt something. Get in the comments as usual below. Hopefully Watto's piercing eyes haven't boggled you and you're falling in love with him like you did the previous weeks. And we will see you all the way throughout the Euros. Don't think the Keeper's Corner is going away. We will be back. Don't you worry about that. We're going to be analysing Euro goals, England's goalkeeping. We've got so much for you, haven't we?
It's really exciting summer for us. And if I get a tan, the eyes will become...
You've got a tan now.
piercing.
You look $1 million.
It can only get better.
There you go. We'll see you soon. It's the Keeper's Corner.